Hello, good afternoon. How to read a nautical chart. Nautical chart are an important navigational tool even when you're familiar with the waterway. A nautical chart helps you figure out which way to go, how deep the water is, and the location of harbors. You will also know about underwater obstruction that may not be visible and overhead bridges and power lines that could get in your way, even if you have onboard navigation system. Chart reading is a skill you need to know before going out onto the water. Use the scale indicator to track distance on a chart. Scale are expressed as ratios and differ from the map to map. The scale printed in the upper right corner of the map will look something like 1 is to 100,000. A ratio of 1 is to 10,000 indicates that every 1 into 2.5 centimeter the map equals 10,000 in 25 centimeters. 25,000 centimeter in the real world. Charts with smaller scale provide an up close view, depicting more area details and markers. If you're familiar with land maps, the scale works the same way there. A harbor chart is an example of a small scale chart. Navigators need to close view of the harbor with all the obstructions and other detail larger charts slow hand in water but few additional details. So this is the example, the chart. 2. Find the unit measurement used to indicate water depth. Look in the upper right corner of the map near the scale. You will see unit measurement printed in big letters. You need to know this because chart use all sort of different measurements. Your chart include feet, fathoms, or meters. In the US, charts generally use feet or fathom. However, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration or NOAA has begun converting its charts to meters for the sake of international consistency. 3. Read the chart numbers to figure out the water's lowest depth. The block numbers printed on the chart represent water depth. Each number indicates that means lower low. Mean lower low. Water MLLW in an area. This is the average water depth at low tide. So most of the time, the water is deeper than what you see on chart. Okay. If you see a negative number, that means the water depth in the area is typically less than what is listed on the chart. So, 4. Multiply fathoms by 6 to measure depth by feet. Numbers written in the fathoms have a unique look to them, so they are easy to spot. A fathom listing often consists of a pair of numbers. The first number indicates the number of fathoms. The second number, which will be small subscript, is the number of additional feet. For example, a listing of 0 and 3 means a depth of 0 fathoms and 3 feet. A listing of 3 and 2 means 3 fathoms, 2 feet, or 20 feet total. And 5. Multiply meter measurement by 3 to convert them to feet. For uniformity, simplicity, many modern chart use meter. This can be tough to understand if you're used to measurement to feet in feet or fathoms. Multiplying by 3 is a quick way to get relatively accurate estimate of the water's depth. For example, multiply a listing of 6 meters by 3 to estimate it as being at least 18 feet depth. The actual depth is 6 meter or 20 feet. So, it isn't complete accurate, but it is helpful for avoiding shallow areas. If the depth are listed in feet, you can also divide them by 3 to quickly convert them to meters. And this the using colored contour lines. 1. Follow dotted contours line to monitor similar water depth. Contour lines are there to give you an idea of what is happening beneath the water surface. Contour lines, often red, connect similar water depth listing. This has the effect of dividing areas into shallower and deeper waters. Use the contour lines as reference for the overall water depth in an area. For example, contour lines may connect points listed as 20 feet to 40 in depth. All of the points inside those lines are even shallower than that. 2. Look for light blue areas to identify shallow water. On Nautical Chart, white space is normally water, so the blue areas will stand out more. Shoals and other shallow areas are blue. These spots tend to be no more than 18 feet or 5.5 meter depth. Deep. Although this varies from chart to chart, shallow areas are often marked off by contour lines. The exact depth of shallow areas depends on the chart. Some charts colors in areas under 3 fathoms, while others mark spots less than 1 fathoms deep. 3. Find yellow or tan areas to identify land and sandbars. Dry land will usually be inside a contour line, but not always. Pay particular attention to any tan spots in the middle of water channels. Sometimes these spots are submerged and can damage your boat, especially in the shallow water. Land is always light color or to distinguish it from water and other navigational aids. Identifying common chart symbol. Use the compass rose to identify the direction you are traveling. The compass rose is a series of 3 circles surrounded by numbers. The outer circle is to help you to find north, represented by a star or 0. The inner circle points to the magnetic north pole at the time of chart printing. You can use magnetic compass to navigate with the compass rose as a guide. Follow red and green buoys or navigational guide. These buoys mark water channels. That colored circles you see on chart is corresponded to buoys you will see on floating along the channels as you travel. So red markers show that the right side of a channel, while green markers show the left side. The different color keep you oriented no matter which way you travel. Look for anchors to find anchoring points for boats. For example, an anchor point mark or DW means deep water. Only deep water vessels will anchor there. A number like 24 stands for 24 hours, so you can only keep your boat in the area for a day at a time. Note rocks and other dangers circled on the map. Obstacles are generally represented by circles with symbols like asterisk, and plus signs. There are many different symbols and they often vary between charts. Some charts use picture symbols such as boat to represent a particularly sunken shipwreck. 5. Follow arrows for the speed and direction of water current tides. Current and tides change all the time. Take the arrow as a prediction for the way water normally flows. Keep watch as you travel for anything out of the ordinary. Read abbreviation to identify important features in the area. Some common seafloor abbreviation includes S for sand, and M for mud, and C for coral. RKY stands for rocky floor, and TR indicates Nervy Tower. While WHF stands for wharf and VN means beacon. CG may indicate a Coast Guard station on a US map. And the last Download is download a separate chart for a list of less common symbols. The chart covers all US charts, download or copy, and this link at Nautical Charts. And chart made in other countries may have different symbols. Check with your government maritime office for a reference. And the end, thank you for listening